Welcome, everyone. Let me ask you a very honest question. Have you ever experienced this strange situation? You understand English when you read it. You understand English when you watch videos. Sometimes you even think in English inside your mind. But the moment you open your mouth to speak, suddenly your mind becomes empty. The words disappear. Your brain starts searching for sentences. Your heart starts beating faster. And you say something like, Uh, wait, I know this, just give me a second. And then the conversation moves on. If this has ever happened to you, I want you to understand something very important. You are not bad at English. In fact, this situation usually means something surprising. It means your brain already knows English, but your speaking system is not trained yet. Understanding English and speaking English are two different skills. Your brain can understand thousands of words, but your mouth must learn how to produce them quickly and naturally. Think about it like driving a car. You can watch hundreds of driving videos. You can read books about driving. But until you actually sit in the driver's seat and practice, you will never become a confident driver. English speaking works exactly the same way. Many learners spend years doing input activities, reading, listening, watching videos, learning grammar, but they rarely train the speaking muscle. And because of that, English stays inside the mind, but it never reaches the tongue. So in this video, we are going to fix this problem step by step. I will show you practical solutions that will help you turn your English from thinking English into speaking English. If you truly apply these ideas, something powerful will happen. Slowly, your brain will stop searching for words, and your mouth will start producing English naturally and confidently. If you want to improve your English every day and become a confident speaker, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join this learning journey with us. Solution 1. Learn everything by topic. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make is learning random vocabulary. They open a vocabulary book and learn words like abandon, ancient, fortunate, purchase. But the problem is this. When they need to speak, their brain cannot find the words because they were not learned in a real situation. The brain remembers language much better when it is organized by topic. Think about real life. Most conversations happen around specific topics such as food, work, travel, daily routine, health, shopping, education. So instead of learning random words, start learning English by topic. For example, choose the topic restaurant. Now learn sentences connected to that topic. I would like to order pasta. Can I see the menu? This dish is very delicious. Could you bring the bill, please? Now your brain begins building a language network. Instead of remembering one word, you remember a whole situation. When you enter a restaurant, your brain quickly activates that topic and the sentences appear naturally. This is exactly how children learn language. They don't memorize dictionaries. They learn language through situations and topics. You can practice this every day. Choose one topic like morning routine, office conversation, shopping, talking about hobbies, talking about movies. Then write 10 to 15 useful sentences related to that topic. Read them. Say them out loud. Repeat them many times. Soon something powerful will happen. When that topic appears in real life, your brain will automatically bring those sentences to your mouth. This is one of the fastest ways to move from thinking English to speaking English. Solution 2. Lower the pressure. Another big reason people cannot speak English is pressure. When someone asks you a question in English, your brain suddenly says, I must speak perfect English. I must not make mistakes. I must use good grammar. I must sound smart. And what happens next? Your brain freezes. Because pressure blocks natural speaking. Fluent speakers are not people who always speak perfect English. Fluent speakers are people who speak comfortably. Think about a child learning a language. Children make thousands of mistakes. They say wrong grammar. They use incorrect words. They pronounce things badly. But they keep speaking. And because they keep speaking, their brain slowly improves automatically. But adults often do the opposite. They stay silent because they want to speak perfect English. But silence is the enemy of fluency. You must change the way you think about speaking. Instead of thinking, I must speak perfect English, start thinking, I just need to communicate my idea. Even simple sentences are powerful. Instead of saying a complicated sentence like, I was considering the possibility of starting a healthier routine, just say, I want to start a healthier routine. Simple English is still real communication. In fact, many native speakers use simple sentences every day. So remove the pressure from your mind. Give yourself permission to speak imperfect English. Because something amazing happens when pressure disappears. Your brain becomes relaxed, your thoughts become clearer, and your words start coming out more naturally. Confidence grows not from perfection. Confidence grows from practice. Solution 3. Write before you speak. Many learners have a problem like this. They have ideas in their mind. They know what they want to say. They can even understand many English words. But when they try to speak, their thoughts become messy. Why does this happen? Because speaking is fast. When you speak, your brain must do many things at the same time. Choose words. Build a sentence. Remember grammar. Move your mouth. Pronounce clearly. Continue the conversation. For many learners, this feels too heavy. That is why writing before speaking is such a smart method. Writing slows the process down. It gives your brain time to organize your thoughts. It helps you move from idea in your mind to clear sentence in English. And when you can write a sentence clearly, it becomes much easier to speak that sentence later. Think of writing as a practice room for speaking. Before a singer performs on stage, they practice many times in private. Before an athlete plays a match, they train before the real game. In the same way, before speaking naturally, you can prepare your English through writing. Imagine you want to talk about your morning routine. In your mind, you may have many ideas. I wake up early, sometimes I feel tired, then I drink water, then I study English. But when you try to speak, maybe you freeze. So first, write it. For example, I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. First, I drink a glass of water, then I wash my face and sit down to study English for 20 minutes. After that, I get ready for my day. Now something important has happened. Your idea is no longer confused. It is now organized English. Then you read it aloud, again and again, slowly, clearly, with confidence. After repeating it a few times, your mouth becomes familiar with it. Then later, if someone asks, "What do you do in the morning?" you will not feel completely lost because your brain already practiced that idea in English. This is why writing before speaking works so well. It removes confusion. It gives structure. It turns invisible thoughts into visible language. And then visible language becomes spoken language. Another reason this method is powerful is because many learners think they need to speak everything spontaneously from the beginning. That is too much pressure. You do not need to become spontaneous on day one. First become clear, then become comfortable, then become fast. Writing helps you become clear, and clarity is the beginning of fluency. Here's a very simple daily method you can use. Choose one small topic every day. For example, my daily routine, my family, my job, my favorite food, why I want to learn English, what I did yesterday, what I want to do next year. Now write just 5 to 10 sentences about that topic. Do not worry about writing perfect English. Just write simple, clear sentences. For example, if the topic is my favorite food, you can write, "My favorite food is pasta. I like it because it is simple and delicious. I usually eat it on weekends. Sometimes I cook it at home. I want to learn how to make better pasta in the future." Very simple, but very useful. Now read those sentences aloud. Then close your notebook and try to say the same ideas without reading. At first, maybe you will forget some words. That is normal. But this process trains your brain in a beautiful way. Think, write, read aloud, speak. This is one of the best systems for learners who say, "I know English in my mind, but I can't speak." Because often the real problem is not that they know nothing. The real problem is that their thoughts are not organized enough for speaking. Writing organizes the thought. Speaking activates it. Also, when you write often, you start noticing patterns. You begin to see how English sentences are built. You begin to remember useful structures like, "I want to," "I need to," "I enjoy," "I usually," "In the future," "I hope to." One reason is, the main problem is, these patterns make speaking easier because you are not building every sentence from zero. You are using sentence frames your brain already knows. That is powerful. Imagine someone asks you, "Why do you want to improve your English?" If you never practice that question, you may freeze. But if you wrote about it before, your answer may come more naturally. "I want to improve my English because it will help me in my future. I want to speak confidently, understand more content, and connect with people from different countries." That is not magic. That is preparation. And preparation creates confidence. Many people think confidence comes first. But in real life, confidence often comes after preparation. When you write, read, and repeat your own sentences, you stop feeling like English is something strange. It starts feeling familiar. And the more familiar English feels, the easier it becomes to speak. Do not write very difficult sentences in the beginning. Keep your English simple. Simple English builds strong fluency. Difficult English without speaking practice builds confusion. So instead of writing, "I am exceedingly passionate about the opportunity to enhance my communicative competence," write, "I really want to improve my communication skills. Much better, much clearer, much easier to speak." Your goal is not to sound like a textbook. Your goal is to sound like a real human being who can express thoughts clearly. So from today, do this. Every day, write a little. Then speak what you wrote. Then speak it again without looking. This one habit can change your English because it trains both the mind and the mouth together. And that is exactly what many learners are missing. Solution 4. Learn chunks, not single words. Many learners study English in a weak way. They memorize single words like this: happy, decision, improve, result, opportunity, problem. Now, knowing words is not useless. Of course, vocabulary matters. In real life, we do not usually speak in single words. We speak in chunks. A chunk is a group of words that naturally go together. For example, make a decision, improve your English. At the end of the day, one of the biggest reasons, I'm not sure. The good news is, as soon as possible, little by little, day by day, to be honest. These are chunks, and chunks are one of the biggest secrets of fluent speaking. Why? Because chunks help you speak faster. Instead of building every sentence word by word, your brain pulls out a ready-made piece of language. That saves time. That reduces stress. And that makes your speaking sound more natural. Imagine you only learn the single word decision. That is okay. But when you need to speak, your brain must still decide. Do I say do a decision? Take a decision? Make a decision? This causes hesitation. But if you learn the full chunk make a decision, your brain already knows the natural form. So when you speak, it comes out more easily. This is one big reason why some learners know many words but still cannot speak smoothly. They know vocabulary, but they do not know how words live together. Fluency does not come only from knowing words. Fluency comes from knowing how words connect. Now think about your own speaking problem. Maybe sometimes you know the words in your mind, but when you try to speak, you stop. Why? Because your brain is trying to build everything from zero. That is slow and tiring. But when you learn chunks, speaking becomes easier because you are not creating every sentence from nothing. You are using ready-made building blocks. It is like building a house. If you have to make every brick yourself, the process will be very slow. But if the bricks are already ready, building becomes much faster. Chunks are those ready-made bricks. Instead of learning only the word tired, learn chunks like, I'm really tired today. I feel a little tired. I didn't sleep well last night. Instead of learning only the word hungry, learn chunks like, I'm so hungry right now. I need something to eat. Let's grab some food. Instead of learning only the word busy, learn, I've been really busy lately. I'm busy right now. I have a lot to do today. Do you see the difference? Single words give you information. Chunks give you speaking power. Chunks teach you how English is really used. That is why fluent speakers often sound fast and natural. They're not always thinking of one word at a time. They are using groups of words that already live together in their mind. When you learn chunks, you also improve sentence structure, pronunciation rhythm, speed, confidence, natural expression. For example, if you practice the chunk, to be honest, many times it becomes automatic. Then during conversation, you can naturally say, to be honest, I was a little nervous. To be honest, I don't agree. To be honest, I need more time. Very useful, very natural, very easy. The same with chunks like, in my opinion. I think that. The truth is, the problem is. One thing I learned is, I'm trying to. I used to. I'm getting better at. It depends on. From my experience, these chunks are gold for speaking. They help you start sentences quickly. And starting is often the hardest part. Many learners do not speak because they do not know how to begin. Chunks solve that problem. For example, when someone asks you a question, you can begin with, I think, in my opinion, from my experience. To be honest, the main reason is, now you are already speaking. And once you start, continuing becomes much easier. So how should you learn chunks? Use a very simple method. When you read or listen to English, do not only collect single words, collect useful groups of words. For example, if you hear, one of the biggest mistakes people make, write down the whole chunk. One of the biggest mistakes. Now practice it with different ideas. One of the biggest mistakes learners make. One of the biggest mistakes I made. One of the biggest mistakes people make in life. Now the chunk becomes yours. That is how fluency grows. Not by collecting thousands of isolated words, but by collecting usable language. You can create a notebook only for chunks, divided by topic. Daily life. I'm getting ready. I'm on my way. I'll do it later. I'm running late. Feelings. I feel a bit nervous. I'm really excited. I'm not in the mood. I feel much better now. Opinions. I think that, in my opinion, the truth is, as far as I know, English learning. I want to speak more naturally. I'm trying to improve. I need more practice. I understand, but I can't speak. This is much more powerful than random vocabulary lists. Then do this. Read the chunk aloud. Repeat it many times. Use it in your own sentence. Say it again the next day. The goal is not just to recognize the chunk. The goal is to own it. Because once a chunk becomes automatic, your speaking becomes faster. And when your speaking becomes faster, your confidence grows. There is another big advantage to chunks. They make your English sound more natural. For example, a learner who speaks word by word may sound like this. I want to improve English because speaking is difficult for me. But a learner who knows chunks may say, I want to improve my English because speaking is still difficult for me. That sounds smoother because the learner is using common patterns, not only separate words. Fluency is not about knowing the biggest vocabulary. Fluency is about being able to use language quickly and naturally. And chunks help you do exactly that. So from today, stop learning English like a dictionary. Start learning English like a speaker. Do not ask only, what does this word mean? Also ask, how do people really use this word in a sentence? What words usually come before it? What words usually come after it? What useful chunk can I learn from this? That question can transform your English. Because when you learn chunks, you stop carrying single bricks. You start carrying full pieces of the house, and suddenly, speaking becomes lighter, easier, and more natural. Solution 5. Talk to yourself every day. Many learners say, I have no one to practice with. I don't have English-speaking friends. I feel shy speaking with people. You do not need another person to start practicing English. You already have the most powerful speaking partner available. Yourself. Talking to yourself is one of the fastest ways to train your brain and your mouth to work together. Think about it. Right now, inside your mind, you already talk to yourself every day. You think about your plans. You think about your problems. You think about what you will do tomorrow. This inner voice is always active. But for many learners, this inner voice is in their native language. The idea of this method is very simple. Move that inner voice into English. When you start talking to yourself in English, you create a safe environment where there is no pressure, there is no judgment, there is no fear of mistakes. You can speak freely, and that freedom is extremely important for building fluency. Let's see how you can do this in daily life. Imagine you wake up in the morning. Instead of silently thinking about your day, start describing it in English. You can say something like, okay, today I need to wake up early. First I will drink some water. Then I will study English for 20 minutes. After that, I need to get ready for work. You are simply describing your life. Later, when you are cooking, you can speak again. I am cutting vegetables right now. After that, I will cook rice. This meal will probably take about 20 minutes. When you go outside, you can describe what you see. The weather is nice today. The street is busy. I see many people going to work. This may feel unusual in the beginning, but something powerful starts happening inside your brain. Your brain slowly becomes comfortable producing English ideas continuously. Speaking stops feeling like a special activity. It becomes a normal part of your life. That is exactly what you want. Because fluent speakers do not only speak English in classrooms, they think and express ideas naturally and frequently. Another great technique is to ask yourself questions and answer them. What did I do today? What are my plans for tomorrow? What is something interesting I learned today? Then answer your own question in English. Today I spent some time studying English. I also watched a video about communication skills. One thing I learned is that practice is more important than perfection. Even if your sentences are simple, that is perfectly fine. Simple speaking is still speaking. And every sentence you say trains your speaking system. The real power of talking to yourself is frequency. You can practice many times a day. 5 minutes here, 3 minutes there, another few minutes later. These small moments add up. And little by little, your brain stops feeling shocked when it needs to produce English. It becomes normal. This is how fluency slowly grows. Not from one big practice session, but from many small moments of speaking every day. Solution 6. Shadow and switch. This method is one of the best techniques to improve natural speaking speed and rhythm. It has two powerful parts. First, shadowing. Second, switching to your own ideas. Shadowing means listening to English and repeating it immediately, like an echo. You listen at a speaker and you try to copy the sentence exactly. For example, imagine you hear this sentence in a video. Success is built through small daily habits. You pause the video and repeat. Success is built through small daily habits. You try to copy the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, speed, tone. At first you may feel slow, but slowly your mouth learns how English naturally flows. English has a rhythm just like music. Words connect together. Sounds change slightly when people speak quickly. Shadowing helps your mouth learn this natural movement. Now let's add the second powerful step, switching. After repeating the sentence, change it slightly and make it your own sentence. Original sentence. Success is built through small daily habits. Your switched sentence. Fluency is built through daily speaking practice. Original sentence. I'm working on improving my communication skills. Switched sentence. I'm working on improving my English speaking skills. So your brain learns two things at the same time. How English sounds. How English ideas are created. This combination is powerful. Original sentence. Shadow it first. Learning a new language takes time and patience. Then switch it. Learning English takes practice and consistency. Now you are doing three important things. You are listening. You are repeating. You are creating. This trains your brain much faster than passive listening. You can practice this for just 10 to 15 minutes daily. Choose a short video or podcast. Listen to one sentence. Repeat it out loud. Then change the sentence and say your own version. This simple method builds fluency step by step. Your mouth becomes faster. Your brain becomes more flexible. And speaking starts feeling much easier. Solution 7. No practice, no fluency. Many learners believe fluency will come automatically from watching English videos, reading English books, studying grammar. These things are helpful, but they are not enough. You cannot learn to swim by watching swimming videos. You must enter the water. Speaking works the same way. You cannot become fluent in speaking if you do not actually practice speaking. Understanding English is one skill. Speaking English is another skill. Your brain must train the speaking ability through repetition. Every time you speak English, something happens in your brain. Your brain strengthens the connection between idea, word, sentence, sound. The more you practice, the stronger this connection becomes. But if you only listen and read, that connection remains weak. That is why many learners say, "I understand everything, but I cannot speak." Their brain has strong input ability, but weak output ability. Fluency requires both. You must receive language, but you must also produce language. Imagine someone who wants to become a great basketball player. They watch hundreds of basketball games. They understand the rules. They know the strategies, but they never play. Do you think they will become a great player? Of course not, because skill grows through practice. English speaking is also a physical skill. Your mouth must learn the movements. Your brain must learn the speed. Your thoughts must learn how to turn into sentences quickly. And the only way this happens is through practice. This does not mean you must practice for hours every day. Even 15 to 20 minutes daily can make a big difference. The secret is consistency. 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, a little more next week. Little by little, your brain becomes faster. Your sentences become clearer. Your confidence grows. One day, you will suddenly notice something surprising. You will start answering questions without thinking too much. Words will appear more naturally. Conversations will feel easier. This moment does not come from luck. It comes from repeated practice. Fluency is not magic. Fluency is the result of many small speaking moments. So always remember this simple truth. If you want to speak English, you must practice speaking English. There is no shortcut. But the good news is this. Every small practice session moves you closer to fluency. Every sentence you say trains your brain. And every day you speak, you become a little stronger than yesterday. That is how real fluency is built. Step by step, sentence by sentence, practice by practice. Solution 8. Use daily sentences. Many people spend time memorizing complicated vocabulary or difficult grammar rules. But when a real conversation happens, they still cannot speak easily. Why does this happen? Because real conversations usually use simple daily sentences, not complicated textbook English. Fluent speakers are not people who use the most difficult words. Fluent speakers are people who can quickly use simple sentences in real situations. Think about the sentences people use every day. I'll call you later. Give me a minute. I'm on my way. I'm a little busy right now. That makes sense. I'm not sure about that. These are daily sentences. They are short. They are natural. And they are used constantly in real life. If you want to become comfortable speaking English, you must fill your mind with these kinds of sentences. Let's imagine a situation. Someone asks you, "What are you doing right now?" If your brain only knows vocabulary and grammar, you may start thinking too much. What tense should I use? How should I build the sentence? But if you have practiced daily sentences, the answer will come naturally. I'm studying English right now. Simple, clear, natural. Daily sentences help your brain respond quickly because the language is already prepared in your mind. Think about daily situations where you often need to speak. For example, talking about your plans, talking about your day, talking about your feelings, talking about your work or studies. Now prepare simple sentences for these situations. For daily routine, you can practice sentences like, I wake up early most days. I usually study English in the evening. I try to improve a little every day. For talking about feelings, you can practice sentences like, I'm a little nervous. I feel excited about this. I'm not feeling very energetic today. For talking about plans, you can say, I want to improve my English this year. I'm planning to practice speaking more. I'm trying to build better habits. These sentences are extremely useful because they appear in many conversations. When you practice daily sentences again and again, your brain slowly memorizes them as natural language, not as grammar rules. Then when you speak, you do not need to build every sentence from zero. Your brain simply uses the sentences it already knows. This is one reason children learn language so quickly. They hear the same daily sentences again and again. Eventually, those sentences become automatic. You can create the same effect for yourself. Every day, choose 10 useful daily sentences. Read them. Repeat them. Say them out loud many times. Then try using them in different situations. For example, I'm working on improving my English. I'm working on improving my communication. I'm working on improving my habits. By doing this, you train your brain to use English in real situations, not just in theory. And when your English becomes connected to real life, speaking becomes much easier. Solution 9. The 4-3-2 speaking method. Many learners speak slowly because their brain is not used to producing English quickly. The 4-3-2 method trains your brain to speak more smoothly and confidently. The idea is very simple. You choose one topic and speak about it 3 times, but each time you speak faster. Here is how it works. First, choose a simple topic. For example, my favorite hobby, my daily routine, why I want to improve my English, what I did yesterday. Now start the exercise. Step 1. Speak for 4 minutes. Do not worry about mistakes. Speak slowly and explain your ideas clearly. If the topic is why you want to improve your English, you might say, I want to improve my English because it is an international language. It helps people communicate with others around the world. I also believe that improving my English will open many opportunities for my future. During these 4 minutes, you may pause sometimes. That is normal. The goal is simply to express your ideas. Step 2. Speak for 3 minutes. Now speak about the same topic again, but this time you only have 3 minutes. Because you have less time, your brain will naturally speak a little faster. You will still explain the same ideas, but more smoothly. Your brain will start remembering what you said before, so you will hesitate less. Step 3. Speak for 2 minutes. Now repeat the topic one more time, but this time you only have 2 minutes. Now your brain must speak even faster. The interesting thing is this. Because you already explained the same ideas twice, your brain now feels more comfortable with the language. Your sentences become smoother. Your speed improves, and your confidence increases. This method works because repetition reduces fear. The first time you speak about a topic, everything feels new and difficult. But the second and third times feel easier because your brain has already practiced the ideas. You can practice this method with many topics: your favorite movie, your job or studies, your weekend plans, your goals for the future. You can even record yourself and listen to your improvement. Over time, This method trains your brain to speak more quickly and naturally. And when speaking becomes faster, conversations feel much easier. Solution 10. Balance input and output. Many learners spend years consuming English. They watch videos, they listen to podcasts, they read articles. This is called input. Input is extremely important because it helps your brain understand how English works. But there is another side of language learning called output. Output means producing the language, speaking, writing, expressing ideas. If you only focus on input, your brain becomes very good at recognizing English but not at producing English. This is why many learners say, "I understand everything, but I can't speak." Their brain has strong input skills but weak output skills. To become fluent, you must balance both. Imagine learning to play the guitar. Listening to music is helpful, but if you never touch the guitar, you will never become a musician. Language works the same way. You must listen and read, but you must also speak and write. A healthy English routine might look like this. Listen to English for 20 minutes. Read something for 10 minutes. Then spend 15 minutes speaking or writing. This balance trains both sides of your language ability. Input feeds your brain with new ideas and vocabulary. Output trains your brain to use those ideas actively. When these two forces work together, fluency grows much faster. Another helpful idea is to turn input into output. For example, after watching a short video, try explaining what you learned. You might say, "In this video, the speaker talked about how daily habits can improve your life. One thing I learned is that consistency is more important than motivation." Now you are transforming listening into speaking. This strengthens your memory and your speaking ability at the same time. Remember this important rule. Input builds knowledge. Output builds fluency. You need both. When you combine listening, reading, speaking, and writing, your brain develops a complete language system. And that system slowly turns your English from something you understand into something you can use naturally in real conversations. Before we finish, remember one simple truth. If you can think in English, it means your brain already understands the language. The door is already open. Now you just need to walk through it. Do not wait for perfect grammar. Do not wait for perfect confidence. Just start speaking. Speak a little today. Speak a little tomorrow. And keep going, because fluency is not built in one big moment. Fluency is built sentence by sentence, day by day. And if you keep practicing, one day you will realize something amazing. You are no longer just thinking in English. You are living in English.